Working Class on Deercast. It's episode 95.
Woo, getting up there, boy.
Of the Working Class on Deercast series. Inching in close. This is the fullest Working Class on Deercast episode I think we've had in the history of this series.
By far.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
Well, Kurt Geyer is speaking.
Eric Hammond.
Doug Schmidt.
Austin Chandler.
And in studio from a long way.
Hello, HuntChef Nation. This is Jeremy Critchfield, HuntChef himself.
Thank you for being here.
Darn glad to be here.
Okay. Thank you for being here.
You betcha,
Gee
buddy.
whiz.
You're like a radio guy.
You know, I've done some radio commercials in my career, and not all of them went great, but everybody heard them.
That's good.
Okay.
That's all that matters, right?
Okay.
You know, that's what I was saying when I did it. And it was still to this day, I have folks, once they hear my voice, are like, hey, you were that guy on the radio.
You have a very radio-y voice.
Yeah, and I have a radio face, too. That's what my grandma said.
We get told that a lot. It's weird.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
I think
this
that
is
means
on
we're ugly.
video, so I don't know what's going to happen.
Audio's stronger, but you got this handsome young gentleman sitting next to you.
Listen,
on
this
your
guy.
left,
Where?
all the way from East PA,
Western PA.
Western PA.
Yeah. Josh Deversbeck.
Thanks for being here, man.
Buffalo Creek Outdoors, my main man.
Well,
There
so
you go.
first of all, we met you guys at the Harrisburg show 2 years ago,
Yes, sir.
roughly. And then you guys do the trade show circuit very heavily. And we love what you do. We've been fortunate enough to like have this strange relationship with you where you're like, hey, at the Illinois Deer Classic, why don't you boys come to the Airbnb? I'm going to cook you some coyote. And we're like, coyote? Okay.
Sick. Let's go.
And we went and we ate coyote with you.
Yeah.
And I talk about that night often because not many people have eaten coyote. And everyone always asks, was it really good? And I'm like, okay, well, here's the deal. Let me break this down. I'll explain how I break it down.
Break it down,
and then we'll
brother.
just get into it, chef, and we'll just get into it. So I said, listen, if I cooked it, it'd taste like a boot. It'd be the worst thing you've ever eaten.
For sure.
You wouldn't want me to cook you
Yeah,
coyote.
dude, terrible.
Do we all agree on that?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Like,
You're not wrong.
None of us are cooking coyote.
No.
This guy's a legit chef, and when someone can make you coyote, I don't think there's any, and you love it. Like, we were like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, not like good for coyote.
And let's be honest, he could probably cook a boot and it'd taste good.
Have you ever cooked a boot?
Once when I was little.
Okay.
Was it good?
It was delicious.
So that was like our, we had
Introduction?
talked with you stuff, but that was like our
Yeah.
first, like, let's hang out. I'm going to cook you guys a strange meal. And you basically were like, that's like the ultimate flex, right? Cooking something
That no one else eats.
very off the rails for the common person and making it taste that good. That's probably the biggest mic drop you could have ever done at the beginning of a relationship, right?
Well, I guess when you put it that way, it probably is. But it was really just to, I wanted to get you guys' attention. And because I love the message, I love what you guys have done here on the podcast. And obviously, I mean, the fan base you guys carry is the people that I try and talk to on a regular basis. As far as, I've trademarked the line, eat what you kill. And so, I mean, I trapped when I was in grade school, when I was in junior high, and I didn't cook one possum that I caught. I can tell you that plain as day right now. But looking back, my granddad probably would have. If I'd have drug it and said, Pap, would you put this possum in a pot and make us dinner? He probably would have. And, carrying that through to not being like a shock jock radio. What's that guy's name? Stern?
Howard Stern.
That douchebag. Douchebag. Anyhow.
Yeah, we'll
maybe
probably let
not.
that one pass.
All
Judges?
right.
Judges?
Pass.
Judges,
All right, we'll let it
judges
pass.
pass.
Let it-
What and
nice.
I shouldn't say that. I mean, he's been very successful. But at any rate, getting people outside their comfort zone and understanding where food comes from sometimes takes a little bit of, up against the side of their head.
Yeah.
So whether it's coyote, groundhog,
Beaver.
rattlesnake, beaver, raccoon, so be it.
Yeah.
I'm all about it.
So where did you get into cooking wild game? Like that being said, it's like professionally, how did it start? Like where'd your passion for it?
Well,
or
as
cooking
far-
in general.
Take us to the beginning.
So it was far before the professional side. And, I just mentioned my granddad. So he and my grandma, and this is on my mom's side, they grew up through the Great Depression in the 1930s America, and they were farmers in Butler County, Pennsylvania. Grew up, on family farms, and you didn't waste anything. We washed tin cans, we cleaned the labels off of them, we cut the bottoms out, we smashed them flat, we put them in a container, and we recycled before there was this cool suburban recycling and a big truck and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I tell everybody, our Thanksgiving table looked like the Pilgrims. I mean, we had grouse, we had rabbit, we had groundhog, we had squirrels. And Thanksgiving is always before, the first day of deer season in Pennsylvania, because in Pennsylvania, when I was growing up in the 70s, 80s, and I just dated myself there, but that's okay.
Careful.
Whatever. I don't care.
You're good.
I'm at the mid-century mark, brother.
Hey, you're killing
and
it.
I'm just hitting my stride. But that was before bow hunting was really a thing. There were 3 bow hunters in our little town of Worthington, and they were considered like CIA conspiracy theorists. Those were the guys. They bow hunted deer, and they thought Area 51 was where every alien under the galaxy lived.
Well, it is.
It is.
So,
But-
anyway.
100%.
But we cooked
Sounds like
everything.
my kind of people.
And my granddad was a butcher, as a farmer. They grew beef. They had chickens, turkeys. I mean, the whole deal. So when I would come home from Sunday school, I would change out of my good clothes. I would go down, crawl in the chicken pen, the duck pen, the goose pen, drag something out by its feet or its neck, bring it up to the stump. Here's the hatchet. Cut its head off, let it run around. My papa would come out with a 5-gallon bucket of boiling water from the basement. We would pluck it and gut it, and it was dinner 4 hours later. That's how I
awesome.
grew up.
Yeah.
And then I went on to a professional culinary career that took me all over the country. I mean, legit 5-star hotels, legit 5-star restaurants, and legit 5-star resorts. And, I couple all that, and I see everything that man did when I was a kid, from brining squirrels in cold ice water in the fridge for 2 days before he ever thought about cooking them, to having something heart beating and cutting its head off with your hand. Mm-hmm. Knowing where your food comes from, being able to take a life, appreciate it, and
Eat it.
and make it taste good.
Make it taste good.
That's
yeah.
where I'm coming
that's
from.
a big
That's
one.
right.
So, okay, a lot to unpack. When did you guys meet? How long have you guys known each other?
Junior high.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been that
Hey,
long.
well,
Yeah.
Josh is a couple years younger than me, not a lot.
2 years.
2 years. But yeah, I mean, same hometown.
So you guys have always
600
been
people.
buddies since then.
We've known
Been
each
buddies.
other. I mean, been buddies for a long time. And I don't want to steal any thunder you got, Josh, but Josh has been an outdoorsman from the word go. I mean, a houndsman, whether it's coons, running coyotes with hounds. I mean, deer hunting, the whole deal.
Yeah, just
Known
tearing
each
it
other
up.
a long time.
Well, that's awesome, man. Yeah, because we were talking in here in the studio. This is the first time you guys have ever been here. And first
Yes.
thing, you talk about some mountain lion. Like, do you hunt
Yeah.
that with hounds? And you just want to know about that. So I thought that was cool. So we got to get you hooked up with Trey.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'd
You would love Trey.
love to go do that.
Yeah, you got to do that for sure. You'll get out there. So, okay, so pursuing a culinary career, how does one go about that? What was the steps there to the HuntChef thing? Give me that timeline.
So looking back, it was really straightforward. I mean, I was cooking in a pizza shop and a local restaurant and a local Long John Silver's at the time.
Jeez,
This is like
man.
my sophomore year of high school.
Hell yeah.
I quit. I had a mullet. I didn't want to cut my hair. I was wrestling. I was playing football. Our football team just sucked. I mean, the guys were great. The coaches were great.
You had a great time, right?
The skill was
But
off.
we were terrible. And I wanted to quit wrestling because I didn't want to cut my mullet. You can get a feel of that with your mustache right now, right?
I hear
If
you.
you had to shave your
I'll quit
mustache
right
to be
now.
on this podcast, you wouldn't do it.
I'm out.
You're out.
Well, Doug,
So-
without Doug with the mustache, he has no personality. So it's it's a shame, really.
Might as well talk to that sign over there.
Yeah.
So a buddy of mine who was a senior I worked with at Long John Silver's, he's like, I'm going to take, this is maybe fast forward my junior year of high school. Mike Nolf, if you're out there, thank you so much. I never got to thank you.
I'm sure he's listening.
He went to the Air Force or Navy. Anyhow, he's like, I'm going to take a college skip day and there's this new culinary school at the Indiana University of Pennsylvania Academy of Culinary Arts in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. I'm like, well, let's go. I feel like there's going to be a 12-pack involved.
Yeah.
We're going. So went there, and there was one of the chef instructors named Randy Rupert. So if you're ever in the Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania area and you see the Wizard's Workshop, my man is an amazing chainsaw wood carver these days. But Chef Randy Rupert, he was just cool. I mean, and he was from our hometown. I mean, he had the mustache, like, what do you call it, 80s porno stash kind of thing?
Yeah,
right?
thick and bushy.
Hey, we know.
Doug style.
That's what I'm talking about.
And he was like, yeah, come on, I'll show you everything I know. And meanwhile, he had written Randy's Butcher Block, a little column in the local paper. I was like, I'm in. So I worked and blew out my knees. So football was done, and then went to culinary school, and another just amazing person in my career. And that's really what it's been. At every turn in my career, culinary-wise, or even with HuntChef, there's always been somebody that has inspired me, given me a leg up, kicked me in the butt.
Dude, that says a lot that you're admitting that, because a lot of people don't like to say those things.
And where I sit today, I just work hard, and I recognize people that have inspired me, that have taken a chance on me, or have even said you'll never do it. Those folks get just as much kudos.
They're mad right
for
now.
me,
Yeah.
but Chef Albert Wutch, he was, when I first started culinary school as an instructor. When I went back for my first year, my first summer, working an externship in Glacier National Park in Montana, that he encouraged me to go to, because he was also an amazing outdoorsman, still is. But Chef Albert Wutch is a great wild game chef and professional chef. And he just really kind of turned me into, listen, you can make venison look like these amazing French classical cuisine dishes, and rabbit, and just blew my mind. I'm like, oh, I want to do it all.
Yeah.
So Chef Wutch really set me on fire early, and Randy Rupert was, really the linchpin that got me to go to culinary school. And once I graduated, since then I did a 22-year career at all privately owned, high-end, owned by billionaires, high-end 5-star resort hotels all over the country. Well, I did a year and a half at Four Seasons in Palm Beach, Florida. That was the only corporate gig I ever did in the whole thing. But I would work in the morning at the Breakers Hotel on Palm Beach on the ocean, and then jog down 4.5 miles down the beach past Trump's Mar-a-Lago to Manalapan, Florida, where the Four Seasons was. And then I would cook dinner in a 5 Diamond restaurant there. And I would work 18 hours a day, and I would do it 7 days a week. And I loved it.
Dang.
It's awesome.
That's cool.
You're passionate about it.
Yeah, that's passion.
Yeah.
You said 5 Diamond?
So
What is that?
in
That's 5-star.
I'm so white trash. I'm like,
Yeah, I get
diamonds.
to ask.
So
Stars,
in
diamonds.
lodging and in dining, there have always been 2 rating scales. All right. And those rating agencies or bodies have changed over the years. But one side has been diamonds, and that's almost always been AAA, like the car insurance or whatever, safety. If you have AAA, you call a tow truck, you get a flat tire. Same deal, because they deal with a lot of lodging and travel. And then the star side was forever mobile. So mobile gas stations, that was a big deal. And then towards the end of my career, that flipped over to something else. I can't remember. But as at those resort hotels, you vied for, you worked toward so hard from a service level, from a quality level to those ratings. Because if you were 5 Diamond, you know where you're here. And if you're 5 stars, you were here. Much like in Europe, they have a Michelin star. So Michelin tires, kind of the same deal. Michelin star rating, 1 Michelin star, 2, and then their top line was 3. And, I didn't have a beard. I didn't wear jeans. I wore clogs, starched white apron, starched white coat, tall white hat, the whole deal. Finishing my career, I mean, I had 750 employees, $50 million in food and beverage sales, and just, super high expectations to meet, from everything from a beverage cart on a golf course to a breakfast buffet to, a 5-star meal, a catered corporate event, PGA golf tournaments. I've fed presidents, I've fed royalty.
Most famous person that our audience would know that you've cooked for?
That they would know.
I mean, we're going to know a lot of people, like presidents who said that, but it's like...
George Bush.
Who's your favorite one that you're like, what's the most famous person you talk about the most often?
So,
like, if you're going to brag on someone, who is
the first famous person I ever cooked for that nobody's going to know was the Prince of Brunei. It was at the Four Seasons in Palm Beach, and I roasted a whole baby goat for him and did a 1-pound tin of beluga caviar with all the trimmings, and walked it up and served it in a suite.
The whole
I
goat?
don't know. Yeah, but a baby goat.
Did he tip well?
It was like 15 pounds. Listen, I didn't get past the security guards. I think I was making $9 an hour on Palm Beach.
Here's this goat.
Here's your goat. It's cooked perfectly, that I mentioned. But, and so much more in between. But PGA golf tournaments, I did a 60,000 person concert for the Black Eyed Peas one time. 6 different PGA Tour events, doing everything for 300,000 people in a week's time. I mean, there was a lot. That's awesome. I walked away from all that and was the operating partner of a historic restaurant in Pennsylvania for 10 years, had my own butcher shop, catering company, barbecue company, and but all that, I founded HuntChef in 2009. And you giving me the mic, so I'm going to talk. I'm sorry.
Dude. Keep going, dude.
Hey, you know how easy this is making?
You're making our life so much easier.
Dude, I'm just like, yes, nice. I don't have to do anything.
And I don't want to get away from the wild aspect,
Yes.
And from the harvest and getting the next generation in the outdoors and on the water. But just giving the folks a flavor from where I come from. I mean,
I think it's great. I want you to tell
us. How many people do you think you surprised with by cooking a wild game?
It was so weird hearing you on my headset and realizing you're on my right side. Tell me again.
So how many people do you think you surprised with like wild game and like changed their mind on things?
I mean, tens of thousands.
That's awesome.
Did you always want to go back to the wild game thing?
So it kind of took me
good question.
By surprise a little bit. And I'm so glad you asked that question because
I feel like you grew up doing that. You kind of went off on a different.
You went classy on us. You went classy.
You went pinky out, and then you're kind of going back to your roots.
Well, the pinky outside, it was
to us, I guess.
Well, but on the resort side. So let me, I grew up cooking in family restaurants, pizza shops, Long John Silver's, at home, and at those resort hotels. Everything from room service to the casual dining to fancy internationally themed buffets for corporate meetings, and then legit 5-star restaurants, steakhouses, Italian restaurants, Asian restaurants, so much. What I did was through that, and as I said earlier, I mean, I sit here as someone that has been blessed from a culinary standpoint because I have cooked alongside of people from 100 different countries. I mean, Mexican grandma's teaching me in Phoenix how to make tortillas with the masa and put them on the griddle. Everywhere across the Caribbean, everywhere across Southeast Asia. Some of my early on culinary career best friends were Austrian, German, British, French, and Moroccan, and those all kind of hang with you all these years later, and it just builds those layers of experience, and it's stuff that I draw from cooking deer or a darn coyote that it takes me 2 days later to be like, oh, that was that kid Christoph from from Austria. His dad was a truck driver who really admired American big rigs, but he showed me this way his grandma boiled those noodles. You know?
Yeah.
And it was 30 years ago.
Right.
Uh-huh.
All right, I'm old. But, and that's how, you know, it flows for me now. But, you know, going back to growing up in my grandparents' home, you know, my grandma was a prolific baker. They sold their farm and she joined, or they both, my grandparents were members of what was called the Grange. Mm-hmm. And it was a farmers organization. I don't know if that existed here in the Midwest, but in
That'd be an
Southwest
Austin
PA.
question right there.
I don't know the Grange.
So the Grange was a big deal back home. I mean, if you were a farmer, I mean, whether you raised grain, dairy, beef, I mean, you remember the Grange. And so she, my grandma, Norma Jean. I get that messed up because like, what was the famous blonde with John Kennedy?
I don't know.
That was
Judges?
Gene?
no, god
The
damn it.
actress.
Yeah,
Anyhow, she was
it'll come to me. Blonde.
Grandma's gonna beat my ass. Anyhow, but so she won this national baking competition like 2 years straight for her German chocolate cake. And in 1963, after they sold the farm, built a new house, she outfitted the whole place with brand new appliances from winning all these baking competitions. But in the meantime, you know, me and my granddad would bring 100+ squirrels into the house, you know, every year. Rabbits, you couldn't even count. Pheasants, almost all due to Pennsylvania Game Commission stalking. And the deer, you know, and plus the chickens, the turkeys, the geese, the ducks that we kept in the backyard. So growing up, knowing where food came from just gave me such a leg up and such an insight to my whole culinary career. It was great. So, and then the wild game piece really happened towards the end of my fancy pinky out
Yeah.
food career when people...
Your 5-diamond career.
Yes, sir. I prefer to call it 5-star.
5-star. My apologies.
But,
I've
but
read
when,
stars are above diamonds. Diamonds just sound like they should be above stars.
100%. I'd
You
rather
know.
have a diamond than a star.
Yeah, but you ever had 5 gold stars on your homework when you were in like 5th grade?
I'm going to
No.
open this beer.
Feels
I
pretty
never
good.
happened.
Wow.
Oh, I did, Eric, and just you were a
It
little
felt
dumb in
pretty
5th grade.
good.
It's
Yeah,
okay.
It felt pretty good.
They didn't have welding in 5th grade. All right.
He just got the smiley face.
yeah,
That's all I got.
yeah. They had the thumbs up stamp.
I was proud.
Yeah.
Thumbs up.
Sorry about that.
No, I love
That's something
it.
we do
Tangent.
here on the show.
I needed to get a drink of beer anyhow. There.
There you
Side
go.
tangents. Side tangents. Is what we do.
But to have, you know, people start to understand that I love the outdoors, hunting, fishing, you know, and preparing all of it towards the end of that fancy career. And they were like, hey, chef, you know, my kid caught 2 trout. You got a good recipe. Hey, you have a jerky recipe. Hey, Bob shot 2 squirrels. What am I going to do with them? And it just kept going like that. And I'm like, I start thinking back, you know, to my youth. I'm like, well, I can do everything my granddad did. And there were a number of years in there where I really didn't get to hunt or fish much. I mean, I worked. It was 100, 115, 120 hours a week. Legit. I mean, no joke. You know, there were famous chefs that used to keep 8 bottles of Coke in their walk-in cooler for their sous chefs and their line cooks because
keep
they
them
work
going?
18 hours a day. Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
And that is very verifiable. I was never one of those folks.
Hey, listen,
I've
you say
never
whatever you
tried
want for the
cocaine.
podcast.
well, you know, I will take whatever litmus test needed to verify that. But that's the kind
You're
of...
like Dana White. You're like, test me every month. You know, you're
Oh, I don't know. I've watched a couple Dana videos lately. I don't know. Anyhow, God bless him. Go like hell, brother. But, you know, that's the kind of mentality you had. It can only be great. It can only be perfect. And if it's not, you got to do it again. You got to stay longer. You're going to work harder. Show up earlier tomorrow. And so that was why I lost 20 years in the outdoors. I really did. And it haunts me to this day. But that work ethic stays with me. And that's what, you know, trying to build, you know, this brand, this company, this awareness. And I just want to make a living. You know, I'm
But
not out to.
do you regret missing all that?
What don't you regret? You know,
That's what I mean.
Eric's
do I-
full of a good one. We have
you know,
5. You're
do you
Killing it.
regret?
Yeah, I mean,
fire tonight.
you regret everything, but like, do you? You had a great time.
You know, I think that
did a lot of coke.
Just don't do it. Hey, just don't do it in our bathroom. We have a sign.
yeah, I saw that sign, and it's actually what prompted that part of that story. But no, I don't regret a minute of it. You know, are there days when, you know, I wish that, or think back and say, you know, if I'd only worked 60 hours a week and built a real estate portfolio on the side, would my life be different now?
Shit, I do that every day.
Dude, you know what? You can't really do that though in life. It's like you are a product of
just
like
go
your
hard.
experiences, you know?
Whatever I do, I go hard.
See, that's cool. It's just the same way, like, you wouldn't be as interesting if you didn't run hounds and have the interest you have when we come in here and talk about something different, you know? Like, that's why, like, I don't regret tattoos. I don't regret, like, making hard decisions. Like, you might be like, I probably should have done it different, but you can't fully really, like, regret it because it kind of, your life experiences make you're the product of your own decisions, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You know? Sometimes you make bad decisions, and you're like, I wish I would have done that, but I learned some stuff.
I don't know. The kid at the convenience store at the truck stop down the road about 10
He might
minutes
regret
from
some
here.
things.
I feel like if you stop in there and you look at his knuckles, he regrets that.
Okay, let me rephrase what I just said. if you're a hard worker and you know where to find success and what you do through hard work, then you can't regret poor decisions because
And
you
you don't
learned and
quit till
rolled
you
off
get 'em.
it. Yeah.
Yep.
So, that being said, okay,
Rewind.
don't do meth. Don't like. We all know the things you can do where you're like, man, bad decision. Still paying for that one, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can do things that you'll regret.
Yeah.
And you always will.
Okay. It was a little generic. It was a little generic.
I think people got your point.
Okay, thank you, Dad.
Hey,
Thank
we
you.
understood what you were saying.
Back
They're
to it.
just
I
taking a
was
little
just
too
trying
far.
to balance a little bit
Yeah.
there. That's
Right.
all.
We got you.
Right. Okay. Thank you. HuntChef.
That's right. And so through that, so in 2009, I can't remember. I feel like there was a little bit of bourbon involved.
Bourbon.
And I came up with, I'm going to call this HuntChef, and I'm going to make a website, and I'm going to have all these recipes on there for wild game: duck and goose and deer and squirrels and fish and groundhogs and everything. And so I spent the money, got a lawyer, and created this LLC. Well, it was another, 7 years later that I was finally able to give the brand some love. And, you know, I came up with, again, there may have been a little bourbon involved, the term
Always.
eat what you kill. And it, for me, you know, I'm no giant entrepreneur. I mean, I'm not a millionaire. But I've worked for millionaires and billionaires, and I've watched them closely. And, you know, from the hunting and fishing side of things, where we have a lot of eyeballs on us, you know, after that harvest, you know, it's like, oh, here's you with your big mountain lion, right?
Yeah.
Here's this guy with the buck. Here's ducks and geese with the bands, you know.
Yep.
Kids with squirrels. What happens after that is really where I come in, you know, to help you make it taste great and bring that harvest full circle. And it was really, I talked with myself a lot. How do I explain this?
That's too much bourbon.
Well, I don't
right
know
amount.
if there's any such thing. You might want to get somebody in Kentucky on the phone about that one. But you know, it's, for me, the eat what you kill piece applies to whatever you do in life, whether it's business, a passion, or it's everything that we do in the outdoors, whether it's hunting or fishing, and it's birds, it's upland, it's small game, it's chasing coyotes, it's big deer, whether it's with a bow or a gun or anything in between, but making the most of that harvest. And, you know, myself having 3 young kids, helping bridge that gap. Once you pull that trigger, that release, set that hook, you know, scoop them in that net, what happens after that. I mean, those are the high fives. Those are memories you never forget. But then once you get back to the house, back to the garage, back to that kitchen, and bring it around, and then, you know, you step back as a parent, as a citizen, you know, as a human, and you look at, you know, the ingredients on so much of our food product. There's just so much good stuff with being in the outdoors, whether you're foraging, you're fishing, you're hunting. And that's where I just want to bring people to the table to have a conversation and share what I've learned and support others that are trying to do, you know, much the same thing. So
when someone's like, they're listening to this and they kind of, now they have the flavor of like who you guys are, the background of like how you know how to cook, your experience, like this whole build up from your roots to the culinary career. If someone were to be like, hey man, they come up to you at the show this weekend that we're going to do here at Illinois Deer and Beer, and they go, what's HuntChef? And they just generically asked you that. How would you guys respond? Like, because that has to happen. Like, they see
we get that a
your
lot.
truck, your shirt, your hat. What's HuntChef? And for us, it's like, what's a podcast? It's like, well, it's then you kind of get into it, you know, like, so someone's just like, what's HuntChef?
So I like to think of it as a resource for folks that want to cook game, period. Game, fish. And that resource being sharing tips, sharing recipes, and, you know, obviously, you know, the seasonings. I mean, that's our
Yeah, we got to
main-
get into the seasonings here in a minute.
But
And
that
the cooking aspect of wild game.
But that's it. You know, I want to get people excited about cooking game. And so as far as, you know, what is HuntChef? It's a resource for cooking game and having fun and doing as much as you can with it.
It's also a great line of products that
thank
we
you.
have used since we met you guys. You guys, when we first met you guys actually gave us a bunch of like sampler packs.
Yeah.
And dude, we've been burning through it. And I regret not buying more off you because I ran out. I meant to buy some off you.
You can text me anytime.
I know, but I
Come
want to
on.
like get it from you.
We gotta support you.
You know?
Well, hey, you know, support is support.
That being said, though, you think this stuff's leaving the table? It isn't.
we
Doug will
were
arm
fully
wrestle you for
prepared
it.
for that outcome.
Party foul, like I burn through that stuff in a mad way.
We use a lot of that.
And it is so good. So let's talk about some of the seasonings, and I want to get into like the actual cooking of wild game. That's something that like we could do. You know what I'm saying? Normal,
I do.
Midwestern idiots could do it.
Dude.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a crock pot, you got an electric skillet, you got a cast iron pan. I mean, you got a smoker, you got a grill on your on the patio, whether it's charcoal or propane. I mean, you got this.
Okay,
I mean,
well,
it
I want to
really
get
is.
into that
You
in a
can do
minute.
it all.
So, but I do want to talk about your seasonings.
Let's get into
and
seasoning.
what you offer, because we have been using it like unsolicited. It's stuff that we've bought. It's stuff you guys have given us.
Yeah.
It's stuff we've had when you cook for us. Let's talk about like if someone's getting into HuntChef or into cooking wild game or want to expand and try different stuff like HuntChef seasonings. What would be? Give us a breakdown. Let's just do that.
So at first I had 3. I had 10 ring here. I had, where's Big Sexy? Somewhere around here. There it is.
Sexy.
Big Sexy Beast Rub, and I had Low Down and Dirty. And so those were 3 that had really been, you know, at the core of what I'd done for the, you know, the 10 years I had my restaurant in Pennsylvania, that were very relatable. They were sweet, they were spicy, they were plenty savory, and they could go across a lot of different meats, whether you're going to smoke, you're going to grill, you're going to shake it and put it in a crock pot. And the feedback was so great. So I went back to my black book of rubs and
Is
seasonings.
this like the green notebook on Waterboy?
Yeah.
Maybe.
What are we doing the movie references tonight?
Dude, we're killing it,
Damn,
dude.
dog. I'm proud of you.
impressed.
Get Eric on another level,
I'm
boys.
proud of
man.
you, dude.
Get with us,
That's
Doug
like-
and
that's a-
Austin.
Hey, I'm just watching from the sidelines.
Yeah, it's like,
That's like your 6th movie reference tonight.
dude, you're killing the questions tonight
Damn,
as
dog.
well.
Yeah.
Shit.
No,
Look
I
at you,
appreciate
Eric.
it.
Hey,
Damn.
hey,
Good job, guys.
hey, you're looking good, Eric.
You're looking good, too.
Thanks, man.
Shit.
Doug,
We're just there for the looks, Doug.
you haven't said
Yeah.
much, guys. So let's step her up and press the chef.
I'm trying.
So, the rest of the line came along because the response to those initial 3 was so good that I was like, well, okay, so people want fish, people want birds, people want smoke, people want grill, people want crock pot. And, through my whole career, all that stuff I've just been yapping about, I mean, blending, rubs, seasoning blends, etc., was a huge part of what I did because I wanted original flavor.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay. And some I stepped down, some I stepped up, with heat and intensity and whatnot, because I'm like, okay, when I put a HuntChef seasoning product out there, I want the whole family to be able to eat it. I mean, a couple would maybe be too spicy for a few.
Yeah.
But
like kids and stuff,
yes,
or
and I wanted them to be, while we're focused towards game and game fish, they got to be great on chicken. They got to be great on pork chops. They got to be great on broccoli, on steaks, on burgers, mixed into meatloaf and whatever else. So I just kept tweaking the recipes I had, working with, commercial spice blender. And, so I came out with the whole entire delicious dozen after a while.
Delicious dozen.
So if someone asks you,
Killing it.
what's your flagship, like what's the one rub, spice, whatever you call it, that you can kind of put on everything?
Ooh.
What's your flagship?
All purpose?
All purpose, yes.
You bring this up at a time when I'm completely sold out of it.
The Swiss Army knife of seasonings.
Oh, shit.
Well, that's
But
a good reason then.
It's 10 ring.
10 ring.
10 ring does literally everything except the sweet flavor. So every other flavor profile that you want to hit, 10 rings got it, except for sweet. Behind that is probably Feather Duster. That is...
Let me smell.
Everyone smell. Take a whiff.
You can put on a steak. You can put on French fries. You can put on a pork chop. You
Dude,
can put on a backstrap.
that would be like
Put on dog turd.
a French fry type.
If you were interested in eating a dog turd, you might want to get a little chocolate Hershey's.
Dude, that'd be
squeeze
good
or
on a
something
baked potato.
Dude, that'd be good on freaking.
Okay, so then what's your favorite one though?
Terrible
like,
question.
Ooh,
It's
that's a
like picking
good.
my favorite kid,
Well, you got to pick one.
Oh, dude, everybody's got a favorite kid. They just don't admit
100%.
it.
Yeah, I just want to admit it.
So the one seasoning here that I have blended the longest and has given me the probably not 30 years, but pushing 30 years is Low Down and Dirty. And
Is that a pig on there or an armadillo?
that is a pig.
An armadillo.
That's a wild pig.
Have you ever cooked an armadillo?
It's a raccoon.
I have not.
Wow, you got him.
I have grabbed an armadillo by the tail and removed it from a premises before, but I have not cooked an armadillo. It's on the list.
It's on
Okay.
the list.
Armadillo,
100%.
What's your favorite seasoning?
That's pretty
Mine?
good.
I can tell you what, I can't even pronounce this one.
Straight out of Pontchartrain, brother.
I'm pretty partial
Poncha-
to
I like that one a lot.
Canadian carnivore.
That you like that one?
I do. Everything from steaks
Up
to
north, D.
burgers, vegetables.
That's your go-to grab.
Put it in when you're
Ooh.
boiling potatoes.
Gee
Throw
whiz.
that in there.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I might have the dumbest question ever.
Hit me.
I thought of it earlier.
He's
Why
been
do-
stewing on it. It's still
I have.
dumb.
It's still dumb.
But I'm
But
gonna
why
do it anyways.
why do some of them have the split lids and some of them have the single lid? Is there a reasoning for that?
It's really just been supply availability. More
I didn't
than
know if there
anything.
was like
No.
reasoning behind it.
Tell him to shut up.
No.
Was that a dumb question?
No, it's not.
It's not. And
Pretty stupid.
the ones because I was completely married to just these these are 3mm holes, big holes, and I loved them.
Doug likes
but
those.
people
good-looking
customers
hole.
were like,
Stop it.
I want
for dear
a
cats.
lid where I can shake that I can dump it out. I want to put big sexy beast rub in a bag full of sliced backstrap and marinate it. I want to take Smoky Bayou and dump it in a crab boil pot. I don't have to take the lid off and mess around and then shake it out.
strong one.
So,
What's the main thing?
so it's been demand, it's been supply, and that's really about it. I mean, it's as simple as that.
My favorite thing about them all is they're so versatile.
Yeah.
Like on anything.
I've
So
been.
how do you keep up with the demand?
That's a good question. Boys are killing it out here.
Right now, it's killing us.
That's good though, because dude, I will
No, that is
say
good.
before
It's a
you
good
answer
sign.
that though, I feel like every Tom, Dick, and Harry nowadays is like has a seasoning,
There's a
which is not
bunch.
a bad thing.
Yeah.
Like it's
So
just
everyone
not
has a
everybody
podcast
nowadays has a
now?
podcast. So
Yeah.
like it just makes
Yeah.
the guys who are invested in the game look better.
Yeah.
Like every podcast that shows up for 20 episodes and then goes away, it makes us look better.
Sure.
The same thing with probably seasoning companies for you guys, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's different. But it's like everyone. There's a lot of seasoning companies now, but there's a few that shine above the rest.
Yeah.
And you guys are definitely one of them.
Thank you.
Put that in your chili.
Way up there, you know? Like,
Put it in
really,
chili.
dude, I pay attention to 3 brands. And I'm sorry if I'm forgetting someone. It's just my honest review. It's you guys, Bearded Butchers, and the Old Barn all-purpose seasoning they put out.
Yeah.
And that's because they just, like, it's just been in our... It's what I use.
It's because it has a moose in a taco shell.
Dude, I use that.
Listen, you
I
know how
use
much
that.
bourbon I had to drink to come up with that?
Put that on a shirt.
Dude, I use
It's
that
coming.
bottle. You call
Here,
it
let me
bottles
see
of
that one.
seasoning. I brought that home, and that was gone
This one?
within, dude, so fast. Like, it just was gone. We
Let
just
it
used the
slide.
crap out of it.
Listen, I have version 2.0, a taco takedown coming out soon. You like that? You ain't seen nothing yet.
Okay.
And that's the other side of the chef
Oh, that is
career
really
in me is, you know, you can't settle. You never settle. Something can always be better.
For sure.
Just like, you know, your deer set, right? You know, maybe I could be a little higher.
know this one.
Maybe I could be a little more on the west side of the tree. Maybe I can get in there preseason and scrape all that stinking cherry or hickory bark off so my back or your safety line doesn't scrape when you turn. I mean, all those little things. It's
You're
the same
fine-tuning
thing
your
with
set,
cooking.
yeah.
So, you know, maybe you can close another window in the blind. I mean, whatever the case might be. I apply that, you know, to this seasoning line. You know, and we also have 3 sausage kits, 3 jerky kits, 3 brine kits. But, you know, it's how we make a living. But at the same time, I just want people to be excited about cooking deer meat. You
Yeah,
know,
for sure.
cooking a rabbit, cooking fish, cooking squirrels. I mean, that's...
So let's
Get
talk
out of your
about
comfort
cooking.
zone and cook a groundhog, would you?
I will say this: your marketing's on point. Because like, if I'm going to one of them stores that has 4 million spices on it, and I
Yeah.
see a damn moose with a taco on it,
Yeah.
You're buying.
I'm buying it.
Well, also, too, is Hunt. Like, I am like...
Oh, you're great. You're
If there's
gravitating towards
X
that, for
company that
sure.
makes this seasoning that's, say it just for example purposes, is just as good as Taco Takedown. It's they could say they're on the same level of
Sure.
quality. If one says Hunt on it, and I know they're pro hunting, I'm buying it over
1,000%.
generic brand.
Yeah.
And I hope all of our community, all the DeerCast community, is doing the same. And it's my funny reference that nobody got when I made it, but shout out to Travis Kissel from Chase Nation, because I said it's the for us, by us mentality. And he reached out, he's like, no one got your reference, Kurt, I got your back, my brother. So
I mean, shit. This is a bird drinking a beer.
Holy
that's what you need. Like, support hunters wherever
Dick
they're
shaking.
at. Like,
Let me see it.
that's why I'm always such an advocate for like DeerCast. Everyone complains about the meta, the Facebook, this. It's
Yeah.
not pro Second Amendment. It's not pro hunter.
Oh.
But here, DeerCast is a place where we can all do that, and there's people who still don't have it,
Right.
Yeah.
and that's what irritates me. It's like, but you're on Facebook and Instagram complaining about anti-hunting and how TikTok won't let you post. You know, you probably cooking a backstrap on TikTok. I bet you can't
Yeah.
even do that. Maybe you can. I hope you can, but wouldn't be
Party foul on
But
it.
you can put it on DeerCast.
You can put it on DeerCast
With some party
They're
foul
welcome
on
it there.
Put some
you know?
party foul on it. It'll feel better in the morning.
So let's talk about cooking, man,
So
because
what?
of course everybody's into cooking wild game. I
Yeah.
hope they are if they're hunters. And I have like this set arena of skills or things I know how to cook and how to cook them. And I kind of just stay in that area.
Stay in your lane.
And I'm enjoying it, but
Yeah.
I'm always looking for new ideas, how to mix it up. You know, you have
How to take it to that next level.
how to take the next level. I might have 100 pounds of elk burger or 100 pounds of whitetail burger or all this backstrap, you know, whole backstrap I have. And I've been making taco meat and chilies and sloppy joes and just simple but delicious things.
You need a sloppy Joe mix.
Where can we?
I know.
Yeah, that
Do
would
ya?
be good.
Dude,
Listen,
I love
But
stuff.
50% taco takedown, 50% big sexy, best sloppy joe ever.
all right. See, okay.
Little splash of beer.
So where does a guy like me go? Because I'm in that arena. I'm sure a lot of people are in the same arena I'm in. There's some people that are probably dancing outside of it. But like, give me a simple venison recipe, and then let's just kind of like we'll have the conversation and get somewhere else.
A simple venison recipe.
Give me like backstraps. Like, how would you cook backstraps straight up, or a burger recipe? Give me one of each.
So backstrap straight up, and this is an anecdotal story. Before I even founded HuntChef, Low Down and Dirty, I told you that was probably the one that was giving me the best kudos through my career. So my brother Mickey Bowser, Mick, if you're out there, love you, see you Sunday. But I had just killed a doe, maybe a week prior, and it was aging in the garage. He calls me out of the blue, and again, we're in Southwest PA. He said, "I got you a Steelers ticket. Bunch of guys are coming down, and we're going to grill and tailgate. Come on down, but can you bring something to cook?" Okay. So I go out.
Yes, I can.
Yeah. So I go out, and I'm working as the executive chef and food and beverage director of a very nice resort at the time, but thank God I had the day off. So this deer's hanging in the garage. I go out. I already had one side of the back strap out. I cut the other out, bring it in, peel the silver skin and fat off, slice it into 1/2-inch thick medallions, put it in a gallon Ziploc bag, shake a bunch of my, at that time, before I even called it Low Down and Dirty Rub, into there, mixed it up, threw it in the cooler, grabbed a 12-pack, drove to Pittsburgh, and when I got there for the tailgate, there was a charcoal grill going, and we pulled them out and cooked them hot and fast, and everybody lost their minds. So the moral of that story, for really any animal, be it wild or domestic, the middle of the animal, the upper middle, like the back strap, the inside tenderloins, you can sous vide. There's a lot of different ways to do it. You can roast the animal whole, but if you're going to cut it into medallions or even the whole loins, hot and fast and short is typically a really good rule of thumb. Like grilling a prime steak, right? You're not going to cook it to well done. You want a hot grill. You want to get it on there, both sides charred, get it off. Same way with the back straps or tenderloins. Now, once you get to shoulders, hinds, necks, plates, ribs, etc., then we're starting to talk lower, slower, wetter, moister cooking methods.
I've never had it broken down like that simplistic before.
Yeah, and it's really that easy. Even like, you ever cooked a rabbit? Mm-hmm. Killed a rabbit.
Been a long time. It's the first thing I ever killed while hunting was a rabbit.
Perfect. So, but and rabbits are long, right? So they got long loins on the top of their backs, and they're going to be done cooking a lot faster than those front or back legs, right? So it's just kind of super, it's different with fish, and it's different with birds. But, four-legged animals, that middle section, upper middle section, loins, inside loins, hot, fast, quick, get them on or get them off. And then the legs, going to take more time. Birds, breasts, if you roast a chicken, a store-bought chicken, by the time that drumstick or thigh reaches 165 degrees, that breast a lot of times is 200 degrees north. It's getting dry. So it's that same sort, the breast on a bird is oftentimes more like the loin, on a deer. And the legs just need more time. And mostly they need low, slow, and moist or wet cooking methods, or crusted and deep fried, in chicken leg, situations.
Yeah.
And then when you get into fish, it can go any number of ways, but whether you're cooking a fish whole or you're doing fillets, once you get to 145 degrees, you need to back it down. You're done, because you overcook it. The fish is going to be just mealy and dry. Do you want to keep running at the mouth, or did I answer anything there?
No, you did. So I think what I asked wasn't a question like that didn't have like direct answers. I think you answered it all in there.
Yeah, it was a good basic lesson there.
Yeah. So I've learned the importance of a thermometer.
Yeah.
While cooking recently,
that changed the game for me in the last couple of years.
Especially with like cooking chicken breast and backstrap. I will be honest. This might make you cringe or it might make you happy. I don't know. my wife and I just bought a cast iron skillet, and we love it.
Awesome.
And we've been kind of learning how to take care of it, and like we realize like it tastes better when you cook on it, in our opinion, or at least what I'm doing. But I normally, when I cook like steak or backstrap, like elk backstrap or whitetail backstrap, I'm throwing butter in. I'm cooking it hot as shit.
Yeah.
And then I'm pulling it off, and I'm just hoping it's done enough that my wife will eat it. I'll eat it no matter what.
Sure.
But normally I'm getting good at guessing. Like, okay, I think it's good by feeling
Practice
the firmness
makes
of
perfect.
it. Yeah, it does. And I just do butter, seasoning, meat.
Garlic.
What seasoning you using?
Dude, your seasoning. You know what's up.
Which one, though?
Kamikaze.
It depends. It depends what mood we're in. Straight out of Pontchartrain. Yeah. I always mix up how to say it. My wife and I had a big debate one night in the kitchen
Did you?
like how to say it. And it's got to me, it has a little kick. Mm-hmm. So I don't do that as often when I know the kids are going to be eating it.
Yep.
My daughter claims she loves spicy, but she's 4, and I don't think she really knows what she's talking about. So it just depends, you know. But that's like what I've been using a lot recently. That or just butter, salt, pepper.
Yeah.
On backstraps.
Yeah,
Burgers,
and-
I'm like, hell yeah, let's do it. You know,
Load it
like-
up, mix it in before you cook it. And on those backstraps, roasts, even beef steaks, pork chops, a lot of people are obsessed with seasoning it, marinating it, and that's A-okay. It really is. But a lot of times what you wind up doing is you burn those seasonings on the outside of the meat during the cooking process.
Oh.
And it completely changes the flavor of those. So if you have a fish fillet, a pork chop, a piece of backstrap, a pheasant breast, and you pat it dry with some paper towel, the drier it is, because during that cooking process, all that bubbling, that's moisture coming out of the meat, right? That is steam escaping due to that, excessive heat. And there's nothing wrong with in a cast iron, on a grill, even over the fire. And once it's cooked to where you want it, let it sit, chill out a second, rest, let those juices relax through the meat. Slice it nice and thin, because the thinner you slice it, always the more tender it's going to be. And then shake whatever you want on it, whether it's one of my seasonings, a sauce, what have you. And again, nothing wrong with seasoning ahead of time, nothing wrong with marinating. But a lot of times, especially if it's hot and fast in cast iron, over a propane or charcoal grill or fire pit, you're gonna burn, the outside. I mean, that's that searing process. It's just what happens.
Yeah.
And it changes that flavor. But more and more people share with me, and we see tens of thousands of people a year at outdoor shows, fairs, festivals, wherever we set up. And so many people tell me, I just want to taste the meat, and then I want to make it taste better with one of your seasonings. So more and more people that I talk to are not marinating. They're not pre-seasoning. They're getting it good and dry, but rubbing the outside with avocado oil, something with a high smoke point, rendered bacon fat, we should talk about rendered venison fat for a minute, by the way.
Yeah,
or bear
please.
fat. But and then once it's rested, slice it nice and thin, and then they're seasoning it how they want it. And and every couple of slices can, the whole thing doesn't have to taste like the low down and dirty. You can take all 12, across the backstrap, however you want it. You can double them up, triple them up.
I've been messing up this whole time. I always season
Oh,
before.
no.
Yeah,
There-
me too. I always have to.
If you love it, even if you're okay, you just fed yourself. I mean, you're good. And then just make that plan for next time.
Yeah,
Keep
it's a good
trying.
tip.
Great tip.
I've been cooking professionally for almost 35 years, and I still learn stuff. So.
Yeah.
I've got a question. So, for the average whitetail hunter that wants to get into aging meat, what are some tips on just some basics on aging for whitetail?
Time, temperature, and airflow are your 3 main factors. So, and again, I mentioned earlier I had a butcher shop, so I specialized in high-end dry-aged beef. And prior to that, had worked with it throughout my career. And venison, I don't know if I can plug the HuntChef YouTube channel, but
Yeah, do it.
on there, there's one of our prior Sportsman channel episodes from Mountaintop Outdoors where I've aged a a set of whitetail hind legs hanging on the bone for 62 days. Now, that's a commitment, and again, time, temperature, airflow. So, and it really probably temperature at the forefront, because you want to stay 50 degrees or colder on average. Now, there are people that are going to probably give me grief because they say that safety is only 41 degrees Fahrenheit and under. Listen, humans have been eating protein on this planet for eons, and there has not always been refrigeration. And there are still people eating protein on this planet. So, but the tough thing about venison is a lot of folks only get one shot at it a year. So for them to get it perfect it's got to be perfect to them. And their perfect isn't always my perfect, as your perfect is theirs. But as a rule, 50 degrees or colder.
Okay.
Plenty of airflow, and what I would call moderate humidity. So 75% humidity or less, and plenty of airflow around that carcass, whether the skin's on or the skin's off.
Okay.
And I would say that every day after 7 days of hanging to 28 days of hanging, in my experience, most folks are going to find it more enjoyable as an eating experience, more tender, more flavorful. After 21, 28 days, things are going to start to get a little more funky. The texture is going to start to change. It's going to get more firm, because dry aging is really evaporation. It's moisture leaving the meat. Deer, just like us, whoever you talk to, 75 or 90% water. I mean, that's what this walking, living protein is. So as you diminish that level of protein, it's starting to break down, decompose, but you're controlling that with keeping the temperature down, keeping the airflow going, so that there aren't those little wet spots.
When you're creating airflow, are you using like a fan, or like how are you creating airflow?
Well, it depends on what opportunity you have. You could have like one of those little fan things you kind of clip on your car vent, or a box fan. If you have too much airflow, you're going to dehydrate at a much more rapid. And thank you for asking that. At a much more rapid rate, just so it's not stagnant, I guess. Because some I've done it in a $25 used fridge where I ripped all the shelves out, cut broomsticks in half, put in there, and slid the quarters in to so they weren't touching, and there's enough airflow in there to make that happen. I've done it in buildings, but I would say the ideal for me for aging deer is to leave the hide, to gut it, get the inside tenderloins out, get the flank steaks out, the belly flaps, anything inside that carcass that is small and tasty and tender, get that out, because you don't need to dry that. And then if you do it, it's going to be, you're going to wind up with cardboard. But leave that hide on, because the moisture will still go through the hide. Okay. But you won't have the loss. You won't have to trim all that off at the end. I have friends. What's Skinner's real name? Jeff
Hollabaugh.
Jeff Hollabaugh.
They're like nicknames. You have to I just call him this.
Yeah.
He skins it and then wraps it in cellophane or plastic wrap. Okay. It works for him.
Leaving the hide-on's easier.
I tried it. I didn't care for it, but who am I to say what's wrong?
Yeah, try everything once, right?
Yeah.
Everybody has their own way.
But time, temperature, and airflow, so that when you try and dry age something, when you have puddles of moisture, that's where bacteria can grow.
Right.
And when you can eliminate those, again, by leaving the hide on, making sure the inside, the cavity's wiped out, and that those inside tenderloins and stuff are removed, then you're going to wind up with a pretty good product. And I'm very passionate about that, if you can't tell.
I want to try that. I want to try that this year.
Yeah. I mean, it used to be, I don't know if it still is, but I mean, Chinatown in San Francisco, I mean, you can walk down and you just birds, skin on, feathers on, hanging. Yeah. Ducks, drying, aging. even plucked, still skin on, and that's protecting that meat. But again, it's letting the moisture evaporate through the skin. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do, and the tough part is for a lot of people having maybe get 1 or 2 deer a year, and really what do I do? And I don't want to screw it up, and that's where you just got to kind of grip it and rip it sometimes.
Yep.
Give her
But,
the beans.
email me huntchef@huntchef.com, and I'll try and help you through it.
So when it comes to like ground meat, because like, most people just go to ground.
Yep.
Like what's you have anything out of the ordinary that I'm not thinking of, or any like cool stuff you can do with that? And maybe there's not.
I got a question about
I want
ground
some
meat.
venison bacon.
Every time I
Love
make
it.
venison burgers, they fall apart. Why is that?
There's no fat in
No
them.
fat.
Yeah, it's dry.
I put egg and crackers
And you
in mine.
cook
I don't
it
know if
too
that's
long.
right or wrong.
But so the venison burger's falling apart, and Josh, chime in when you want, but they're really lean meat like venison. There's no fat, like in beef or pork.
Right.
Or a lot of ground chicken is mostly thighs, and boned out drumsticks. It's very rarely breast meat. So without that intramuscular fat to kind of hold them together, that's what they're going to do. And if you find really lean ground meat at a grocery store, ground beef at a grocery store, say 90-10, you cook it, it's going to be more crumbly. So what I would say there is don't cook it as long. As long as it was harvested well, cared for well, that venison burger, don't cook it past 150 degrees, and you'll be in good shape. If you're cooking it, chopped up into a sloppy joe or chili or something.
Right.
This Yingling's talking back to me. I'm just gonna start sounding like I'm in rut here in a minute, though.
Oh boy,
Oh boy, you want to get away from me now?
party foul.
Party foul.
Take a shot of seasoning.
Calm you down.
But on the ground meat side, I have 3 sausage kits that are really pretty lights out. The mountaintop maple, the country breakfast, and the hot Italian sausage. And a lot of folks, they'll cut them with beef, they'll cut them with chicken, they'll cut them with
So they just like grind venison
Pork.
with that seasoning into it, and then just package it with that.
or
in it.
even they have their 1 pound or 5 pound packs of venison in the freezer. They have ground pork go on sale.
Yep.
At the local grocery store. They'll buy it, freeze it, mix them together that way, even by hand. But if you want a quality ground venison product, you almost always want to put a little bit something to it.
Like a pork fat or a beef fat.
Pork
Yeah, just
fat,
in general.
or even ground chuck roast, just ground pork, or a mildly seasoned pork country sausage, something like that. But I've got folks that use ground chicken too, and it's
Really.
everybody's different.
For the longest time growing up, from the time I started hunting, my dad always did just straight ground venison, and
yep,
we would always add like an egg to, like when we did burgers, we'd add an egg and like some crackers to
yeah.
it to get to stick together.
yep, white bread pulled into chunks.
I've never done that, but what the heck, but I think I just got accustomed to just like how it tastes. Like then, especially, I feel like if someone were came over and just eat like straight deer steaks, like what you used to do, they'd be like, "What are you doing?" But now we do some of that. Like we go to our partners at Old Barn Taxidermy, which will be you guys will meet them at the show. I'll
Nice.
make sure to bring you guys over to introduce you. Like Sam does a gourmet burger, and he adds a little bit of fat to it, and it's something I at first I was like I don't do that at my family.
I say you've always been the just pure venison.
I know, and it made me feel weird a little bit adding like a beef fat or a
Because
pork
we've
fat
always
to it.
added a pork fat or a beef fat to
And it
ours.
was all just how as my dad just
Yeah,
never did
100%.
it because I think my dad wanted that like purity of like
Yeah.
this is all deer, and whatever. And I like it a lot. Like I really love Sam's gourmet burger. What he does,
So much easier to work with.
it's a lot easier to work with, dude. And right from burgers to the kids eating it. Now that my kids are young enough, they wouldn't know a difference no matter what they're gonna eat what I feed them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they'll starve.
Right.
Just kidding. So I looked at Doug, but I don't know. Like I felt weird about it at first, like adding beef or pork fat to like the ground. I was like, ugh.
Sure.
But I shouldn't because it's fine. I eat the hell out of it. It's all I eat. Like,
Well,
you know,
and that's
all
after
I eat is what I kill. What up?
Whoa.
eat what you kill.
Eat what you kill.
So after making a living out of feeding people for 34 plus years, I mean,
You've been feeding people longer than I've been alive, sir.
see, well, I aged myself again.
That's crazy.
I'm looking pretty good for almost 50.
You looking sharp, brother. That beard's looking good. Mustache is good. Dude, you would look good with just a mustache.
Yeah.
I did that for a long time. I mean, I was.
You get tired of the ladies
That was
attacking
pretty
you?
much me for my entire culinary professional career. But
You're,
anyhow,
you're the in most
You saying
recent
I-
guest history, you're the closest anyone's got to that mustache.
You saying I should be a chef?
Ooh.
I've had this mustache in 7th grade. I've
Well,
never
you got
shaved
more
it.
time than me.
I've never shaved it. Not one time.
Really?
Not since 7th grade.
Wow.
That was a long time ago.
That's
Doug
impressive.
hasn't shaved his since 2
You
years
saying
ago.
I should be a chef now?
No.
Oh.
I'm saying you can go like
No.
hell, you know.
Doug, can
Make
you even
some
cook
good
an egg?
stuff.
No.
When's the last time you cooked for yourself?
Who knows?
We talked
For real.
about doing a little cooking
I know,
too.
but you
Let's
live
get-
so far away.
Doug, let's get real. When's the last
So
time you
far
cooked for
away
yourself?
from me.
Cooked for myself.
Like at your house.
Like an
When's the-
actual
And
meal.
what was it?
Yeah, when was the last time the burner on your oven got turned on your stove?
I don't even remember.
Dude, are you kidding?
Has it ever been on?
It's been on. I just forgot what I cooked.
How long ago was
It
it?
wasn't
It was like a year and a half ago.
macaroni and cheese.
You haven't turned the burner on your...
I haven't, no.
Dude, mine's on every night.
So you
Yeah.
have to attend
I
one of his
love
seminars.
cooking.
Yeah, you gotta get...
Doug just doesn't eat though.
Yeah, I just don't eat.
Yeah, it's a good diet.
Whatever.
Drink Busch Light and don't eat. Look good.
Play video games.
You can't have a mustache like that and not eat.
Hey, hold on a second.
Feeds itself, buddy.
I mean, that's kind of like that. You're almost like a Magnum
clip
PI
that.
stash there.
It feeds itself, buddy.
Put some seasoning on it.
Do it.
By the
Spicy.
way, Doug has a girlfriend, and
I
he doesn't know how to
noticed that.
cook. Yeah, she's here right now, guys.
How are you supposed to cook her a nice meal?
Because that's how awesome, man. I don't need to.
You should.
It's wrong.
She
Get
does,
her in here.
She does the cooking, right, Doug?
Yeah.
Wow, traditional relationship. Didn't expect that one.
Huh.
Old school.
Wow, how long will that last?
Next question.
Doug's girlfriend.
She
It's not
feeds
my
it.
show.
Can Doug's girlfriend please come to the door of the studio and just no further? Just come in and give us a glance, if you're listening. Just need a quick glance. Get in here, please.
She's
Uh-oh.
coming.
Hurry.
Dun, 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 dun.
Okay, just a
Okay.
glance. All right. How do you feel about Doug not cooking?
It could go, scale 1 to 10.
You feel like you need some HuntChef help?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you would prefer Doug to cook for you?
Yeah.
Okay, but he doesn't currently. Right now, he's not cooking for you.
Correct.
So
Has he ever cooked for you?
I mean, Lunchables, but
Dude, those are awesome, man.
you're giving this fine young lady Lunchables?
We decided on that. I don't know why you're yelling at me for that.
Hey, you can only go up from here, Doug.
Listen, we're
That's
gonna
true.
change him around for you because you deserve better.
thank you very
He's a great man, but he just doesn't cook for you, and we're gonna change that.
So every show
Okay.
you're at when he's doing a seminar.
By the way, we like Doug's girlfriend.
Thank you.
You're a sweetheart.
She seems very nice.
I'd cook for you.
Thanks, Kurt.
Easy.
Just saying.
Just watch it. I'll take your girl.
What?
What?
Wild card.
Whoa.
Reverse.
That was an exclusive tidbit that doesn't happen on really ever.
Huh.
Doug's girlfriend was here while recording an episode. We finally got to hear the mystery voice from outside the
You
studio.
probably didn't even hear him.
Oh, you can, I'll make sure it gets heard.
God,
The
beer.
people need to know, Doug.
So did you meet her through like the dog page thing, or was that something separate?
Hey,
No. Met her through trade shows.
but how? But how?
But how?
Kurt.
Aw.
Kurt wingmaned me.
Did he? Little matchmaker action.
Yeah.
Can Doug's girlfriend please come back to the door? Didn't I? I was the wingman, right?
You were.
Thank you. I was.
It was all you, Kurt.
I was nervous you weren't going to give me credit for that one.
I didn't do anything.
Man, hey, Kurt's about to steal your girl.
Hey, no, I'm not doing that. I'm just saying I hot take Doug up for you guys pretty good.
And he was right about everything, right?
Sure.
Oh,
I
getting
don't know what
spicy.
that part means, but
Getting spicy.
What the?
I just think I had to get it on record while we're here.
Oh, yes. It was you. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, you can remain seated.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Go back to your seat now.
Sorry about that, Chef. We just had to take an intermission
All
there to
good.
get some credit.
I'm so like
That's big for
honored
this episode right now.
that I was here for that.
Chef, can you
I'm
help?
glad you're here.
Can you help Doug?
I don't think Doug's beyond help.
I want to be a 5-star chef.
No. But yeah, you can be anything you want to be, man. Anything you want to be.
That was quick.
He's already got the mustache.
Where's my hat?
Get him a chef hat.
You still got some?
I might.
All right.
You gotta want it.
I'm gonna
though.
come to PA. And
You
we're-
gotta want it.
Yeah, I'm gonna come to
You
PA.
got
you
you
gotta
got to
want
earn
it.
that hat, Doug.
I'm gonna
You
come to
gotta want
PA
it.
and then
No, the
I'm
apprentice.
gonna come back a professional chef.
I was gonna say the apprenticeship
a
could start
chef.
this weekend,
Yep.
but he's gonna be gone.
Yeah, you won't even
he's
be
not
at the
gonna be at the
show this
show.
weekend.
Dun,
We
dun,
do need to get
dun.
Doug
Looks like
like
I'm not
cooking.
cooking.
You couldn't cook a backstrap,
I could.
could you though? Have
do
you?
you own a grill?
I did smoke 4th of July weekend.
Steve did.
No.
Like a cigarette
Nobody
or
did. Oh, dude. I
Burn.
don't even get on that.
So you went from never cooking. You can't turn the burner on your stove to all of a sudden you're like smoking meats.
I got a smoker for Christmas. I was like, you know,
And Steve used it 90% of the time.
Steve, I had to clean it because Steve's, Steve.
Well, let's not get on. We're not talking about Steve right now. We're talking about you. Anyway, you can turn him around. His girlfriend will love him for eternity if he could cook. Really, that's just what I just picked up from there.
I mean, Lunchables are good, but
There's a
gotta-
weak
Be giving all
point
the
in this
meats.
relationship, and obviously it's cooking, like she just said so.
Well, I feel like she just needs to hold his feet to the fire to the regimen of just watching the HuntChef YouTube channel. All the cooking videos are there. Get started.
Yeah, but I want to come
Let's go.
hang out with you. And
Hey, you know what?
I want you to come hang out
We'll
with
link your YouTube channel in the description of this episode.
God bless you.
So for any
So
other
in case Doug forgets, it's right there.
that or any other strapping young lad who's trying to get himself a nice, pretty girlfriend like what Doug has, cook a good meal for her, win her heart over.
yeah, if you can't grow a great mustache, you better start cooking.
You know, good mustache is only cool for so long. If you can't drive cars fast and you can't cook,
I can drive cars fast.
I beg to differ.
Eric's
I'm faster than you.
Oh boy.
All right, let's stop
This is getting testy here.
Guys, this podcast
Find me a
was a
track.
ton of fun. I'm stoked to have met you guys. It's been fun seeing you guys at the shows.
Yeah.
I love eating everything you cook. It's amazing, from coyote to beaver so far.
Yeah.
What's in store for next year for us? For next trade show
Armadillo.
season?
I was thinking crow.
Oh, dude, we gotta eat someone's soul. That's what that is. You ever seen that episode of That 70s Show where Fez
yeah.
eats a crow?
You know,
We
we need
mu-
one time. We need one time. You just like cook something like one of your best meals you've ever made.
No, I want crow.
Well, okay, crow it is.
Well, we might pair that with a little bit of.
Can you eat crow?
Yeah.
Oh, my
Do people
gosh,
eat crow
yeah.
often?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there any animal
Yeah.
you
There's
can't
a season
eat?
for it.
Well, I know that, but that was more of a nuisance thing. Like,
Any animal what?
Any animal you cannot eat.
Not to my knowledge.
Interesting.
so we're gonna have crow breasts, crow wings.
Yeah, probably not wings, but crow breast and probably crow confit legs. I think.
Oh yeah, I'm in.
100%.
I'm in.
we'll
Can
cook
we
it.
wear all black and have like a ceremony and light candles when we do it?
Ooh. Can we wear eyeliner and play emo music?
Listen, if you wear eyeliner, you're not having any.
Where are you?
I'm so sorry.
That was awesome.
No, but we can make anything. You guys got some bear meat. We can do some. Give me a chunk in advance.
Crow
Maybe we'll
and
get some
bear
this fall.
and what's another like witchcraft type creature?
Prime rib.
Cattle.
Eric just wants prime rib.
Dude, that's my kryptonite is prime
Oh,
rib.
dude, I eat prime rib.
Get some mountain lion or some bobcat. We'll do
Okay.
that.
We'll try and
I got
Raccoon.
friends.
I want to eat
Raccoon.
raccoon.
That's
Listen,
good.
my
we
blackberry
should do
barbecue raccoon will make you take back stuff you never stole.
Let's do some raccoon.
Possum.
Let's do crow and raccoon.
Okay.
We'll call it the Misfit Meals. We'll do a
I like
podcast
it.
while we eat.
I
like
like
it.
that.
Yeah.
That'd be
You guys
fun.
are great. Thanks a million.
You guys are great, man. It's been a
Oh,
ton of
thank
fun.
you.
Where
been
can
great.
people find you guys?
HuntChef.com. Anything on social, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. It's just HuntChef. One word, no space.
Love it.
And oftentimes an outdoor show near you.
Yeah, pretty much every consumer outdoor show you guys are at, most of them throughout the Midwest and out east in your neck of the woods, Pennsylvania. So
Yeah, and then it should be end of December this year. Will be season 4 of our TV show we're partnered in, Mountaintop Outdoors, on the Sportsman Channel. So it's
Awesome.
usually the last Wednesday in December we start airing.
Awesome.
awesome, man. We appreciate you guys. It's been a ton of
Appreciate
fun.
you
Been great.
We'll have to do a 2.0 and get into a little more.
Eat what you kill, people.
Yeah.
Good, guys?
Good.
All right.
Thanks for coming.
Deercast. Biggest Deercast episode we've had. Most people on one episode on Deercast. It's been a ton of fun.
Might have been the longest.
It's close. It's real close. Real close on Deercast. So try to keep them focused. Have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You know what to do. Go shoot a giant. Thanks for joining us. See you next week.
And eat it.
Peace and eat it. Eat what you kill. Later.